A rock hit the side of the moving truck with a sharp crack. Leo kept his eyes forward, his hands tight on the wheel. He could feel their stares from every porch. The letter had been printed, signed by 50 residents, and slid under his door. "Leave. You are not welcome here." A child pointed at him from a perfectly manicured lawn. His new home, for 3 days, was already gone. Leo had come to Oak Ridge for the silence. After years of city noise, he'd saved enough to buy the old Miller cabin on the edge of the ravine. It was a fixer-upper that promised peace. His life was simple. Carpentry by trade, a temperament built for solitude. He rose at dawn, worked on the cabin's sagging porch, and waved politely to the few neighbors who drove by. They would offer a tight smile. Nothing more. Oak Ridge was that kind of town. Proud and pristine, its history and hierarchies neatly maintained. Leo didn't mind. He wasn't seeking friends. Just quiet. He kept to his routine, the hardware store for supplies, the small grocery. He paid in cash and spoke little. He was an outline of a man, easy for a town like Oak Ridge to fill in with their own assumptions. A drifter, a loner, someone with a past. The town's mayor, Richard Vance, was the opposite. His presence filled a room. His family's name was on the library and the new community center. He was a man of polished smiles and firm handshakes, a pillar of stability. Then, Mayor Vance made a statement. Standing on the steps of the town hall, flanked by Officer Davis, he addressed a small crowd of residents. "Oak Ridge is a family," he said, his voice carrying. "And we protect our family. We will not tolerate elements that threaten our peace. We are investigating vigorously, and I assure you, we will restore our sense of security." He never said Leo's name. He didn't have to. Every head turned toward the ravine road. The breaking point, for the town, was the fire. The old Anderson barn, unused for years, went up in a blaze of gasoline and dry timber. The fire department put it out, but the fury was just igniting. In the soot and the dawn light, they found a single, discarded work glove. It was Leo's brand. A common one. But it was enough. A mob, not large but loud, formed outside the mayor's office demanding action. Richard Vance listened, his face a mask of grave concern. "I understand your fear," he told them. "We will act decisively." Officer Davis and a deputy came for Leo at noon. This time, it wasn't a conversation. "We need you to come down to the station." For questioning. It wasn't a request. The drive through town was a parade of condemnation. Faces in windows. The charge was arson, suspicion of burglary. In the sterile, bright room of the police station, Davis laid it out. The glove. His cash purchases. His antisocial behavior. The timing of his arrival. Coincidence piles up, Leo. Starts to look like a pattern. Leo's quiet explanations were met with silence, then with the suggestion that he confess and make it easier. He asked for a lawyer. The air in the room turned cold. He was processed, fingerprinted. The cell door clanged shut. The town had its culprit, the outsider. The story was clean, simple. Justice, to them, felt imminent. For 2 days, while Leo sat in a cell and the town celebrated, Ethan and Miss Wilkins worked in silence. They cross-referenced pawn shop records quietly obtained by a friend of hers on the county force with town burglary reports. They checked timestamps from traffic cameras near the highway off-ramp. The pattern that emerged wasn't Leo's. It was Mayor Vance's. A business trip coincided with a pawn in the next city. A late council meeting aligned with the hardware store break-in. The glove was the same brand the town bought for the Public Works Department, which the mayor oversaw. The barn fire was the night after the bank called in a line of credit on a property Vance had secretly put up as collateral. It was a distraction, a desperate play for the insurance payout on a derelict structure he owned. The fallout was not dramatic, but it was absolute. County investigators arrived unannounced. The evidence was a quiet, irrefutable ledger of guilt. Richard Vance was arrested at town hall, taken out the back door, his head bowed. The charges were read: insurance fraud, arson, burglary, filing false reports. The power dynamic, so solid, crumbled in an afternoon. The public shock was a mute, hollow thing. There were no angry mobs this time, just the quiet closing of blinds, the shame of having been so willingly, so completely wrong. Leo returned to his cabin. The no trespassing sign someone had nailed to a tree was gone. He walked inside, the silence his own again. He went back to work on the porch. A few days later, as he was sanding a railing, a car pulled up. It was Ethan Vance. The boy didn't approach the porch, just stood by his car. He held out a small pot with a young oak sapling in it. "It's from the old tree in the square," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Before all this, Leo looked at the boy, saw the weight he carried, the shattered world behind his eyes. He gave a slow nod. He walked down, took the pot. Not a word passed between them. Ethan got back in his car and drove away. Leo planted the sapling at the edge of his property, where it would get the morning sun. He finished the porch. The view of the ravine was unchanged, but the quiet felt earned now. Deeper. He would stay. The truth, when it finally comes, rarely makes a loud sound. It's more like the slow turning of soil, exposing what was buried, allowing something new and fragile to finally take root.